sunny day. It's a sunny day.
Hello, friends. Welcome back to the Dead Dad Society. Welcome to the Dead Dad Society if this is your first time. I am your host, Mitch Garling. Guys, I put on a hell of a spread for someone today. Absolute ton of buffalo wings. No one showed up. Pretty upset about it. I'll happily eat them all myself, though. That's fine. Welcome along to episode 12. We have a wonderful guest for you this afternoon. Today, whenever you're listening, you can listen at night now. That's allowed. But we have a fantastic, a supremely, super supremely talented guest for you today. The wonderful singer. That's my daughter. Hello. How are you? We have another guest apparently. Hello. What's up? Oh, it's Bubbles. Great. I gotta go play with Bubbles, guys. But our guest today is the fantastic Imogen Clark. She's a 3-time Golden Guitar nominee. She is a singer-songwriter. She's opened for Shania Twain, James Reyne, Diesel, heaps of people. Claire Bowen from Nashville, the TV show. Bubbles. I know. Bubbles. Look, guys, I gotta go. I've got a bubble emergency. But this is episode 12. Remember to love us. Remember to love us on the socials and everywhere around. I gotta go, guys. Some serious bubble incidents. Enjoy the episode 12 with Imogen Clark. Welcome to the Dead Dad Society. Imogen Clark, thanks so much for coming by.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you, Mitch. Thank you for having me.
Look, this is cool. This is cool to me to have such a revered. I'm going to say revered. Is that the right word? Revered.
Well, that's a lovely word to use. Thank you.
Revered. As I said it, I was like, I'm not sure revered is the right word, but
look, part of me wants to think it's like almost, I can't tell if it has good or bad connotations. I think they're good, but I should know this, but I don't.
Yes. No, that's all good. It's all good. Yes, I think in terms of what I mean by that is, let's try again. Someone very well respected, so someone that is very very popular in her chosen industry. That's not to say that my other guests aren't popular or revered. Even that's a word that is part of my vocabulary now. But I'm sitting here. I'm talking to someone that is literally opening for in all, like, some of the biggest acts in Australian music, some of the biggest acts in world music. I messaged you the other day and I said, like, do you want me to mention the 3-time golden guitar nominee? Like, this is a big get for me to have a star on.
Oh, stop it. You're too kind. No, I very much appreciate that. It's very lovely I actually love doing podcast interviews because I like to talk a lot, and I do a lot of interviews that are really quick, like, minute or two long on the radio or something. So it's actually really nice to get a chance to have a long chat about something. Yeah. I think it's very fun.
For sure. And all the questions, I'm sure, are just, so Imogen, like, album's coming out soon, tell us all about it. And you're like,
yes, very much that. And the one we always joke about is, so tell us the Imogen Clark story. That's the best question you get, because you never know that's my whole life is that story. I don't know what you want from me.
Yeah, how detailed do you want it? Like, are we going, like, I was born on so-and-so of so-and-so in 1990 something.
Thursday. Yeah, it's kind of silly.
Yeah, it's a bit like, and I feel like for a 5-minute radio interview, tell us the Imogen Clark story. Like, tell us everything that's ever happened. And you're like, oh, thanks, man. That you assume that I can wrap this whole life up into probably 4 minutes because we've got to do a bit of housekeeping.
Yeah, thank you for narrowing thank you for making it nice and broad what you want me to talk about. I appreciate it so much, mate.
That's it. And also thanks for justifying mum and dad's choice to have me. I've been wrapped up into 4 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what it feels like. It's very funny. But it's normally you find that when people haven't read your bio or don't know anything about you and their boss has just gone, hey, today you're interviewing Imogen Clark. And they're like, who the fuck is Imogen Clark? And then, oh, is it okay if I swear on your podcast? I should have asked that before we started this.
Not at all. Never do it. No, but yes, please. That's totally fine.
Excellent. I figured being a comedian, you'd be all about the swearing, but I probably should have asked that before just, dropping the F-bomb.
Yeah, look.
But yeah, it's...
It's yeah. I mean, the podcast itself is called Dead Dad Society. I think whatever kind of taste we had is gone.
Yeah, whatever taboos are normally.
Let's not worry about
throwing them out the window.
A little F-bomb. Yeah. Sorry, what were we saying? So what were we saying about the?
It's very regularly. Someone's boss will just go, here's you're going to interview this person today, and they'll have no idea who you are, but they won't bother to read anything about you, and they'll just go, so what's the Imogen Clark story? And that's just the easy question that they can ask you. Yes, which I get, yes. But it's also very lazy.
It's so lazy. It's probably the laziest form of interviewing. And from that, to people that don't know who you are, what's the Imogen Clark story?
Yes, I knew you were
going to see what I've done. Yes.
Yes, 100%. Perfect. Well, I mean, it's such a funny question, because I always think it would be really great to just make a bunch of bullshit up when people say that, to be like,
absolutely.
Well, I was raised in Tibet and I've climbed the highest peaks of the earth, and I've made my career in mountaineering, and just make up a whole bunch of shit that's not even to do with music, and just see if people buy it.
And just make it absurd. Be like, oh, you look back. Do you remember the very iconic photo of the two African American gentlemen on the podium at the Olympics? They're doing the Black Panther symbol. There was a white man on the podium, and that's my dad. And
yes. Just make up so much shit.
It's like, did we get this chick on to talk about an EP or something? Like what? What's the deal?
It's like, I thought this was a musician, but I guess I just need to listen to whatever she's saying and go and roll with it, because I have no idea.
Yeah, it's like, did you write this album when you were in mountaineering or in Tibet, or like what's the relevance
Where is
here?
this going? I'm confused about the link between these two scenarios. But yeah, I mean, all you really need to know about me is that I play music, I sing, I play music, I write songs, and that's what I do for a living. And it feels like a cool thing, even just to be able to say that, because it's my dream job. It's what I've always wanted to do.
Amazing. How good's that? That sounds like the spiel that you've got pre-written for radio idiots. I'm not going to say radio idiots. I apologise to all idiots, all radio people. But
I apologise to all the idiots.
I apologise to every idiot that's ever asked you an idiot question. But okay, so. Like you sent me through a bio. I did know your accolades. We've worked together for I think like 3 or 4 times now. I think possibly through Listen Up. I certainly knew your accolades. We're talking like opening for Shania Twain. Like, as someone that grew up in the 90s, 2000s, I don't know if you could hit the nail on the head any harder of like. Just that's a get. Like, that is such a good get.
Oh, thank you. I definitely agree. It felt like an absolute dream come true moment of my life, where it was such a cliched moment of excitement, where I was like, I think I've made it. Like, my agent called me and was like, I have this gig, you're going to freak out. And, obviously Shania Twain is a huge influence on me, as she is with so many female musicians especially. And like, I just remember feeling that, if I could play, it was certainly the biggest crowd I'd ever played to. It was like 17,000 people or something. And Whoa. It was very nerve-wracking and exciting. And, I just felt like that was a definite level up. It was like I was in a video game doing a bit of a level up in my career.
Yeah. 100%. So where did you end up playing? Where did you end up supporting her? Like, was it a part of like a greater tour, or was it just the Sydney leg, or?
Yeah, it was part of an Australian tour. It was her most recent record she put out, and it was the most recent time she came out to Australia. So that was 2018, I believe. And it was just at her show in the Hunter Valley. So it was at Hope Estate, which is this beautiful outdoor arena. So gorgeous, big, giant winery where they do live music. And like, I've seen Bruce Springsteen there, and just so many exciting shows that I've watched there. So to be on that stage, and it was the biggest stage, like I played in a trio format, so just standing there, we felt like we took up 1/18 of the stage because it was just huge. And then later, you know, we were obviously watching the show, and Shania had dancers and like people doing all this amazing choreography and these like moving LED light boxes kind of like moving across the stage, and we were just like, this is wild. We were just on that stage performing.
That's so cool. Is that because you're Blue Mountains originally, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Is that a thing where Blue Mountains, you know, high school Imogen is just like pinching herself, like, what the hell? Like, what is this?
Definitely. I'm still pinching myself, and it happened 2 years ago. Like, it's very surreal to be able to play a show like that with a hero of yours and just be on that same stage. And I think that every time something like that happens, it's like just a really lovely like vote of confidence and encouragement that you're on the right path, and that people, you know, are noticing the hard work you're doing and believe you deserve to be on that stage. And that's really exciting because it can be a scary industry, as we all know. In the entertainment industry, nothing's guaranteed. So
no, 2020 is a perfect example of of the lack of any kind of guarantee.
Oh my God, 2020. I mean, I feel like there's nothing original I can say about it that everyone else hasn't been saying for months now, of like, what an unprecedented time we're living in, and all this stuff that we're all saying all the time now. But it really just has been a bit of one of those years that just the gift that keeps on giving, you know, big just bag of shit.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's such a, like, even recently I was like, you know, we're going to be looking back on this in, you know, 2040 or 2060 being like, remember 2020? Like, that was crazy. And I tried to make a joke out of it, being like when there was the whole, you know, the toilet roll epidemic, I was like, we're going to look back at like how we look back at the Great Emu War of like 1800 whatever. That's how people are going to look back at us fighting over toilet paper. Like, that's surely it.
It was a sad moment in human history, that is certain. It was definitely the weirdest thing I'd seen in my lifetime, people fighting over toilet paper and having limits to the amount of toilet paper you were allowed to buy because people were fighting over it. It was just a bizarre time. And I think I still am trying to wrap my head around 2020 and all the wonderful things it's like thrown our way, you know. It just seems to keep, it doesn't give up, does it?
No, not at all. I feel like toilet paper is one of those things where the pandemic has made us like really carefree in the sense of like embarrassment. So like before, if you're going to the shops and buying toilet paper, you're like, I'm just getting in, I'm getting out. Like, I'm not letting people see me. Like, they'll know that I go to the toilet. Like, that's not, I don't want people to know that.
I don't want them to know that.
I don't want them to know. Like, I guess they think I go to the toilet. Like, I guess they assume I do, but I don't want to confirm it for them. That's it. Like, I'm holding this. I'm like, yes, I've done it before. But now everyone's literally fighting over it. Like, you know, trolleys and like, you know, there's people with garages full, and it's like, there's no embarrassment anymore. Like, people are just like, yeah, I go to the toilet, and you know, I've got the materials. So
absolutely, I love it. And I had it's all the cards are on the table now. I had a friend that put up a hilarious status when it was the midst of the toilet paper crisis, and she put up this Facebook status that was a message thread between her and her husband was saying, hey, I'm coming home a little bit late, stayed back a little bit at work so I could do a poo at work and use their toilet paper.
Yes.
And
how
then
good
she
is
was
that?
like, And she responded like, thanks, honey. That's really great. Like, and I was just like, it was really one of those not all heroes wear capes scenarios where you just are like, well done, mate.
That's so good. Yeah, that's it, man. Seriously, if the things are there, like I was even sort of saying this thing about how I'm, when I'm at home, like I'm a very quick, like soap, hand washing kind of guy.
Yep.
Since I've been out, I'm like if I've ever gone out, I'm just like, I'm over the top with the hand washing. I'm like, I'm just using all their stuff. So I get where it's coming from. You got to use everything that you can get. Who knows? We might go another lockdown tomorrow. Who knows? And then
you got to be thrifty in these times. You really got to be careful. It's important. And I'm the same. I'm a germaphobe at the best of times. Before the pandemic, I carried around so much hand sanitizer in my purse all the time.
Yeah.
And now it's almost like my hypochondria is out of control. Like I'm just going nuts on the hand sanitizer, and I'm scared of getting near anybody or touching anything that anyone else has touched. And it's just a very strange time, but it does make you realize so many people, no concept of hygiene whatsoever. Like, how many times have you been in a public bathroom and watched somebody walk out of a cubicle or walk away from a urinal, maybe in your case, not perhaps mine, but walk away and just not wash their hands?
Yeah. Like,
just leave.
I went to the beach the other day. I took my daughter to the beach for the first time. Like, just let's go check it out. And we went to the toilets. And as I'm leaving the toilet, I'm washing my hands. And in the time I washed my hands, the guy came in, went to the urinal, and left. And I was just like, I wanted to just be like, 2020, like, what are we doing? Yeah. Come on, man.
I mean, in the best of times, gross, but in 2020, you irresponsible human being.
That's it. And the only thing I will give him is if he walked straight into the ocean. Like, if he just had a big old saltwater bath immediately, then that's fine. That your hands are probably clean then, man.
From the urinal straight into the ocean. Yeah.
Straight into the 100%. Ocean. I'm glad he went to the urinal. Like, he could have, I just watched him go to the toilet, he could have stayed in the ocean. It's not like...
That's true. Where does he draw the line?
That's it. The ocean doesn't have that, like, stuff, the green dye stuff, like when you pee in the public pool and it tells everyone. The ocean doesn't have that. So, he could have done it. He would have got away with it.
How does that stuff work? Like, when parents with their kids in the water, surely that's just going to happen all the time.
Pretty much. We had not myself, but when I was at the pool, 6 months ago, I think. Oh, no, that's right, 2020. Maybe like a year ago, to be honest.
Time is nothing. Time means nothing now.
No, honestly, before March, but from here back to March, like, nothing. Haven't really done a thing. But we had a code brown when we were at the pool, and there was just a little, like a lady like holding a kid, and she's like, "I'm so sorry." The lifeguards like, it was life and death stuff. The lifeguards were like, "It's a code brown, like, everyone out." It was like,
is it really called a code brown? Is it really?
Code brown.
That is the best thing I've ever heard.
It was the opening scene of, like, not the opening scene. It was like the opening of when you go to the town in Jaws, and it's like, "Get out of the water!" Like
my God!
It's the code brown, and everyone went, "Ah!" And then there was
considering this podcast is about traumatic events, I should mention that I traumatized my mother many times as a child, because I blame it on her, because she instilled in me an intense fear of public toilets, because she was always like germy. So she was like, "Oh, there's germs, and like, don't go near, and like, just squat, and don't actually sit on the toilet. It's like yucky, don't touch anything." So then as a kid, I was terrified of public bathrooms. So then, like, I would be so scared to go to the bathroom. So then why am I talking about this? Anyway, I've begun.
That's right. We've already done it. We're in.
And then, like, I'd get in the public pool, and I'm like a tiny child, so it's fine. But, mum's like, poor mum is like, every time I'd get in the water, I'd just like piss or shit myself, and mum would just be like, "What the fuck? Just use a toilet. What is wrong with you?" Like,
we literally, we just took you where you needed to do that.
Right. I know. She's like, "This is not the place. Now is not the time."
Yeah, I haven't had any like with my daughter, I haven't had too many major, obvious, things happen, but I haven't had too many major public emergencies where it's like, you're hated by the town, where you're like, I'm sorry, like, yeah, like
Yes.
she pissed on the floor of a Westfield. I'm sorry about that. Like,
I mean, look, it's apparently a thing I did to my whole family, because when I don't remember this, but when I was in kindergarten, I was once again terrified of going to the toilet at school, so would try and hold on all day. So then
good.
Mum picked, I know, great, so good for you. And then I highly encourage everybody to try not to piss for an entire day. And then my mum picked me up, and my brother, who's older than, a few years older than me, so old enough to have a sort of sense of what is cool and what is not, and have friends that have a sense of what is cool and what is not. And then as we're walking out of the school, I just started to piss myself in the middle of the school grounds with all his friends around. And he was mortified, and he did not forgive me for years. I swear it has damaged our relationship to this day.
Be like deathbed stuff. He'll be doing your eulogy or something, and he'll be like, look, in all honesty, I didn't really want to do this. I still haven't gotten over when Imogen pissed herself on the Oval or wherever
Just
you
like, like he just was starting to get cool, just starting to get in with the cool kids.
That's it. He just got that invite to, I don't know, Sammy something or other's birthday party, and then Sammy saw you piss your pants, and he was like, I don't know.
You know what? Maybe I don't want this breeding at my birthday party. I don't want these genetics there.
Yeah, sorry, we're at full capacity. It's like, okay, sorry there. The obvious.
Oh God.
Going back a little bit. Shania, she was cool. She was she hit the what's the word I'm looking for? She met they say you don't want to meet your heroes sometimes. Like,
yep.
I met a pretty big comedian that I idolized, and when I met him, I was like, I'm such a big fan, and he was like, oh yeah, cool. And I was like, can I get a photo? And he's like, nah. And I was like, okay, can I get an autograph? Like, my dad loves you. And he was like, I don't do that sort of thing, hey. And I was like, okay, bye. And like, I used to love this, but I used to love this guy, and it was like insane to just be like, okay. And like, he was like, he's not from Australia, and he had a show on the next week, and I had tickets to it, and I feel like I just went, when I got to the show, I was just kind of like, like, I'll still watch it. But
I hate that. Like, I understand that people have, I understand that everyone is entitled to deal with their success in a different way, and to deal with people, but like to deal with their fans in a different way. But I just would never understand that, because to me, the people that, in your case, love your jokes and come to your shows and laugh at your material and get you as a comedian, for me, the people that connect with my music and buy tickets to the shows, like, they're the people that make you who you are and make you able to do this thing you love as a job. And without those people, there is literally no career for you. So to be kind of rude to those people when, they're meeting someone that like has given them a career, basically, I think is just really rude and strange. And I've always been so grateful if someone comes up to me and says that they've been influenced by my music, because I'm so that I remember feeling like that. I feel like that for other artists that I admire, and that shapes my work. So if I can influence somebody else and connect with someone else, then that's happy days. That's amazing for me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like, I've even had like a bit of a, not self-discovery, but like a self-realization. Like, I probably, maybe 2 years ago or so, there was just a guy that, always commenting on my stuff. He's always liking my stuff. He's always, sending me jokes and sending me this and that. And it was like, I said to one of my mates, I was like, fuck, it's getting annoying. Like, I'm actually kind of getting annoyed by it. And he was like, what's he doing though? And I was like, I don't know. He's just, and then I sat there for a second, and I was like, he's just trying to connect with me. And then I like looked at my mate, and I was like, fuck. And he was like, you heard it? And I was like, yeah. He's just I said, he's just trying to connect with me. And I was like, what the fuck's wrong with that? I was like, so ever since then, like, I've just kind of been like, every time he says something, just say something back. And he comes to all my shows, and it's like, how good is that? Like, I've got this guy
Oh,
that comes to all my stuff, but
that's awesome.
for 2 seconds, I'm going like, oh, this is annoying. And it's like, oh, what a hard life you've got that this guy sends you
But
jokes all
yeah,
the time.
that's a wonderful way to think about it. And it's great. It would be great if more people thought about it like that. And I remember seeing, because I'm a huge Taylor Swift fan, and I remember seeing an interview with her where she was saying that, you know, I don't know, this probably would have changed now given that she's even at a higher level of success now than she was back when she did this interview. But she was just saying she'd go out to a cafe to have lunch with someone, and then someone in the cafe would tweet that she was there. And then within 20 minutes or half an hour, there would be a line out the door of people wanting autographs, and she would be trying to have lunch with a friend. But she always said that she would do it. She would sign all their autographs and meet everyone, because she just was like, well, without these people, I don't have this life that I love. And I don't, you know, I mean, simply don't have all this money, but also don't get to do the thing I enjoy, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's so important to appreciate those people.
That's it. And it's so hard. Like, I know, you know, a bunch of sort of big comics and big actors and stuff talk about, and probably musicians as well, of course, but they talk about, you know, there's the people that sort of take the piss with that and come up and they're like, can you sign this for me? And then it's like, there's like 20 headshots and they want signatures, and then, you know, they're selling them on eBay and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, God.
And like, it's so hard to be like, oh, I'll sign, you know, I'll sign for kids and these people and that, and, you know, fans. But it's like when a middle-aged dude comes up with 30 headshots, you're like, well, no, I'm not going to. I'll give you one.
Yeah,
that's fine.
that's
Obviously.
right. Exactly. There is a line, of course. There's always a line with these things. And unfortunately, there's always people that are going to push it too far as well.
Absolutely. So Shania meets the criteria. She's good. Like, did you have much of an interaction? Like, you know,
Unfortunately, I didn't get to meet her. As with a lot of those really big, like, arena shows, they have a really intricate backstage area. And because there was crazy amount of traffic for her show, she got caught in her own traffic. So she was like in a black car. Yeah, it was funny. She was like in a big black car on the way to the show, and they had to like go up on the side of the curb and like drive through all the past all the traffic to get her to the gig in time. So she got out of the car onto the stage and then off the stage into the car. So it was very like, it wasn't that she was, you know, obviously it was nothing to do with rudeness or anything. It was just practicality. So unfortunately I didn't get to meet her, but did, you know, get to give her a little letter that I'd written saying thank you for having me and how grateful I was. So that was really, really fun. It was a beautiful moment that I honestly will never forget. Standing side of stage, just being like, I'm about to play on this stage. Like, what is going on? Just feeling so nervous. I was jumping up and down, trying to get rid of all the nervous energy.
Yeah. There's nothing personal in that. Like, she didn't know that you pissed your pants and embarrassed your family or anything like that.
She's like, you know what? Your brother called me, and I'm really not keen to meet you.
Yeah, Sammy from the story earlier actually grew up to be Sam Smith, and he's a really good friend of mine. And he told me over some sort of lunch that you embarrassed yourself at something or other.
That is the
public
stuff
school.
of my nightmares. This is the stuff of my nightmares.
That's it, when it's so like weirdly, like something from your childhood that comes into like adult life, where you're like, I don't know. It's like I don't know. We're such bathroom humor, but like I had a toilet incident in like year 3, and if I don't know, if I was sort of doing something in this day and age, and then it was like, but what if they know about this? Like, what if they know about year 3? That'd be the worst.
Oh my God. It's brilliant. I mean, the thing is, like, that sort of humor is so great to me, because I think there's so much like snobbery about us as humans, just feeling like we're so good. But in reality, we all go to the toilet just like everybody else.
Yeah.
Even people that have big mansions and a lot of money and fancy cars, they still shit like everybody else. So
that's it.
There it
Maybe
is.
they have they might have a hose or something, like a fancy bidet, but they're not stressed about the,
Did you
I said
just call
hose. Yeah, I said
bidet
hose. I said hose. Yeah. It's the most,
That's amazing.
it's the most Australian thing. It's just one of those like those green garden hoses in it, isn't it? That comes out of the
Imagine,
toilet.
that is something I can imagine, like in a Simpsons episode, like Homer Simpson rigging up like a little hose within
Yeah.
his toilet to make it seem really fancy and like a bidet. It's like the
I
most
feel,
bogan way of doing it.
I feel like when bidets like first came to Australia, there would have been so many people that were like, nah, that's like, I'm not into that. That's fancy, blah, blah, blah. But if we just had like, even if it was still just the same old bidet or whatever, but we had something, like when you put a new cover on your phone, like let's put a new cover on the bidet, but it's a green garden hose.
Yes. You know what? I think you're onto something. I think you should definitely,
I'm going to call
yeah,
Shark Tank.
organise this.
Was it Shark Tank or Mark Cuban or
Yes.
whoever it is?
Yes, definitely. Patent that straight away.
I know. So yeah, I said before that we'd worked together, 3 or 4 times, like through Listen Up Music. We're both ambassadors. It's a what's the word for mental health awareness charity organization that sort of does these songwriting competitions. They put it on comedy nights. They've put on different shows. But over the last couple of years, we've sort of crossed paths because we've worked on a few of them.
Yeah.
And I guess that is, my work with Ali. Like Ali is unfortunately also like myself in the Dead Dad Society, and we talk a lot about that sort of stuff. And that's, I guess, one of the things behind the podcast is, like, you don't have to have a dead dad to be in the society. This is more of a support group in the form of a podcast.
I love it.
I know that you're very lucky. Your dad is still with us. Nice.
Yes.
Nice for
Yep.
some. But
very glad. Yes.
But so you were sort of saying to me earlier that 2020 has kind of thrown a bit of a curveball at your dad, health-wise, though.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been one of those years, like we started off the year with some pretty terrible fires in our area, which of course affected many, many people. We were the lucky ones who kept our house, which was wonderful, but that was a bit tough. I went away to America, and then when I came back, it was flooded, and I couldn't get to my house, which was
Polar
super
opposite.
weird.
That's good.
I
That's
know,
really good.
classic Australia. We love it. We love to see it. And then shortly after that, the pandemic hit, and then shortly after that, my dad was diagnosed with prostate cancer, which was a very interesting thing for our family. And he's very open about it, always talks to people about his experience with it. And he was extremely lucky to have a wonderful doctor who caught it really early and operated very quickly, and was a wonderful surgeon who was very trusted and basically came like highest recommended surgeon. So my dad is, touch wood, currently cancer-free, which is really
amazing.
Wonderful, and I feel very grateful for that. But there was a bit of a tough time there, and his recovery was a bit rocky. So it's been an interesting time, and it's not the first time he's had cancer either. He's also had some skin cancer issues in the past, so it was a bit of a scary one. And obviously you're never fully out of the woods with cancer, which is, I think, the scariest thing about it is you're always a little bit on edge about it. But we are in the best position we could hope to be in with it, which is great. But it's still just added to the wonderful fuckery of this year.
That is, I have not heard it put like that, but it sums it up perfectly, though, doesn't it? Like the wonderful fuckery of 2020. That's
what I've been saying to everybody, like in emails. It seems to be like, when the pandemic started, and you'd start your email with, hope you're going okay in these unprecedented times, or something very professional like that. And then over time, it slowly sort of degraded into, I hope the fuckery of this year hasn't fucked you over too hard. Like, it was like, I know you're fucked over in some way by this year. How much, I hope, is little.
Yeah, pretty much. It's literally I remember sending some invoices towards the start of the pandemic, and it was like, hello, like, I completely understand that you are possibly not in the same financial situation you were when we agreed that you would give me this money, but
When we made this
I need it.
interaction.
Yeah, like but I would like it. I provided a service, and then like I had one guy reply to me being like, you know, mate, I'll pay you as soon as I can, kind of thing. I hope you understand. I've lost like 30 grand's worth of business, and I was like, oh, that sucks. Like it really does suck, but it's also like,
Oh.
I just need that like $300. Can't have that $300.
Yeah, it's absolutely like that, because at the same time, while that is obviously terrible for him, you're also a business, and you're a sole trader business, and you also have a family, and you also knew probably at that point that you were likely to lose a lot of business in the next few months, which we all were going to in the entertainment industry. So it's like, who's more, who needs that money more? Neither of us need it more. We both need it, but it was a deal. So it's like, it's so hard, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's like I'm looking at like I'm sending those invoices and stuff, and I'm sort of following up on them, and it's like I'm watching Torch Fest, like the Listen Up festival, like that gets cancelled. Then Sydney Comedy Fest gets cancelled. Melbourne Comedy Fest gets cancelled, and it's like there's a potential of some all right money coming in.
Yeah.
Then you've got the venues for the festivals. Sydney was all right, but the venues for Melbourne Comedy Fest are like, yeah, it was non-refundable, and you're like, okay, cool. And like, then you've got your aeroplane tickets, and it's like, I was being cheap, trying to get down there cheap, and it's like, I was like, I don't care, I'm going down by myself. I'll just buy Tiger flights, and then Tiger just goes belly up, and it's like,
oh God. So you didn't get any of that money from? They don't give any money back for that if they go bankrupt, or what's the deal? I have no idea.
I believe, and I've had like 3 different emails now. I believe I now have a Virgin credit. I think. That's
pretty good. That's good.
I think, but also like it's one of those things where it's like someone bought me a movie. Someone bought me like an Event Cinemas gift card for Christmas last year.
Yeah.
And it's like, like there's no movies. Like I can't go.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, there is now, but it's like, do I get that extra time added to the gift card? It's kind of like the flight credit. It's like,
because you're not, no, of course. I'm forgetting. No one's taking flights right now. Jesus.
Like I'm not going out on a limb being like, I'm feeling New Zealand 2021. Let's do it, guys.
I'm feeling international travel and getting a deadly respiratory disease.
Not at all. Like, and they're talking at the moment about possibly opening up like a travel agreement between, I think it was maybe New South Wales and New Zealand. And it's like, like, let's just calm down a little bit more.
Do we really need to go to New Zealand right now? We probably don't for a little bit more.
It's October. We've been like this since March. Like, I'm sure we can have, how many months are there? November, December as well. October, November, December. Yep. Let's just, we will, like I said, we'll start fresh 2021. Who cares?
Yeah. I think this New Year's Eve is going to have so much fuck you 2020 energy. It's going to be incredible. Yeah. Like the amount of, how people always put up those posts, and I've been guilty of it, of course, but like put up those posts like, this year's been amazing. This is what I've done. This is what I've achieved all my dreams this year. And I'm so proud of myself. And like, yeah, great. Like, good to be proud of yourself. But this year's New Year's Eve is going to be like, fuck you 2020. I want nothing to do with you anymore.
Yeah.
I'm yeeting you out of here. Like, just later dazing out of here and into 2021.
I can't remember if it was either 2017 or 2018. There was like a crazy amount of like very important, very, influential celebrity deaths. And I remember when we went towards the end of that year, it was like, yeah, like 2017, bye, like the worst year ever, blah, blah, blah. Like bring on 2018. And like, even like, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I feel like it might have even been 2019 that was the major like celebrity death year. And it was like, bring on 2020, we're starting, and it's like, January something or other, it's like Kobe Bryant dies, and it's like, oh, all right, and we're bushfiring, and we're doing. It's like, I see what's happening. Like,
No, it was doomed, like, from the very beginning. It's kind of insane because I've actually just today gone back into the studio for the first time, and by studio I mean I'm actually Zooming with my engineer and producer who are in LA, and my manager and I are Zooming in from Sydney. So actually making the record from afar, which is obviously not something I've never done before. Very uncharted territory for us. We're very excited about it, and it's very interesting. But it's just great to be doing that. But when I was last with them recording the most recent EP, which just came out, was January in America, and it was so COVID already existed, but it just wasn't. It wasn't a pandemic yet. It hadn't spread to the point of sort of fearfulness at that point. So we were just going around, having dinners and going out for drinks and going to karaoke bars and singing on the same mic that 300 other people had sung on that night, and traveling around the world in planes and having no clue what was about to happen. Within like 3 weeks of coming home from America, it all just went belly up. Like, it's insane, the timing.
Yeah, and there's so many things that are now so ingrained in us. Like, I'll be watching a movie and like someone will shake hands and I'll be like, what are you guys doing? Like, why are you shaking hands?
Yeah.
Like,
stop it. Yeah.
Or, people are standing around like close in a circle and I'm like, oh, no, like I don't like this at all. And there's just so many, like, we've gone from, I work in I have a job working in like quite a large shopping center, and it's like you work in this shopping center, and it's like there's so many people around. They don't want to lose their place in line, so they're all standing this far apart. And or the food court, for example, it's like everyone's sneaking in, and it's like it's just crazy. And I feel like we're really going to see a massive change. Like, not even just for the next sort of 6 months or whatever. I think forever. Like, for quite a while, we're going to see, the social distancing stuff stick around.
Definitely, I so agree with that. It's not going to go back to normal. It'll just be a new version of what normal is, I think.
That's it. And we're like, I've had a bunch of auditions recently, and I've got to say, I don't mind it. We're Zooming or sending a self-tape to casting people because they're trying to limit how much contact they have. And it's like,
that's great. Much less nerve-wracking.
So much so. And it's like, just the small things of like, I live in Hornsby, but it's like, I'm not having to drive to the city for an audition that takes 5 minutes, and then I sit in traffic coming back for, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, instead, it's just like, jump on Zoom at this time. And it's like, hey guys, Zoom. What's up? Here's my audition. Great. Thanks. Bye. Like, so much.
Super easy.
So
and with a
better.
young daughter like that as well, it's lovely to be home more, I'm guessing, with a
That's
young
it,
child.
Yeah. I mean, it's good. Don't tell her that. I don't want her getting too confident or too cocky. But
I half expected you then to say, I mean, well, she's 18, but it's fine.
Yeah. Look, I'm actually originally from the Central Coast, Imogen, and we like to start real young on the Central Coast. I'm 32 now, and she's a prime 18. I started at 14, and I'm actually pretty upset that she hasn't started. She's running late now, but she's 18.
Hey, you joke, but I come from the country, and it is young out there.
Oh yeah. We talked about Listen Up. We talked about Listen Up a little bit before. The last one that we did, the one post-pandemic, the last one that we did, you played a song. Was it? Correct me about the first word of the song. I've forgotten. It's something man. Good man. Great man.
It's First Class Man is the name of the song.
First Class
you heard
Man.
Me play.
I got one of them right. That's not bad, is it?
Oh no, you did very well.
I thought it was
and
good
it was
man.
the right gist. You write the you were right on the gist of the song as well. Well, you remembered well.
I literally looked at your Spotify this afternoon to be like, please be on there. I want to know what it's called. And I didn't want to be like, Tell
Oh,
me about the man song.
the man song. To which I would respond, that applies to pretty much every one of my songs.
Every little heartbreak that we've got in there.
Every song is about a man in some way. No, that's I'm sorry you couldn't find it on Spotify because it's so new that it's not actually recorded yet, not released yet. So hopefully soon.
Will that be
Yes.
part of what you're working on with
Yes,
the
it
LA folks?
very well could be. Yes, absolutely. It's very exciting.
So
Yeah,
very
I'm excited to
secretive.
get it out there. It's all very I'm being far too facetious about it. Yes, it's going to be lovely to put the song out there. I had the immense pleasure of writing it with Colin Hay, who is just one of, I think, Australia's best songwriters.
Yeah.
He now lives in LA, and just an incredible artist and an incredible singer, and it's just wonderful to have written a song with him about such a special topic.
Yeah, as a comedian, I think Colin Hay will always be remembered to me for his cameo in Scrubs.
I love him in
Always.
Scrubs, and
It's
he
so
does
brilliant.
a wonderful job. Yeah,
It's
that's
so
what
well
got
done.
a lot of people into him. Absolutely, a lot of people didn't actually really know his music, I think, before that in an international sense. I think a lot of us Australians know him as this legendary guy, but I think it introduced a whole bunch of different people to his music that might not have found it otherwise, which is really great.
Yeah, that's really good. So first class man, it was a beautiful song. On the night, really well received from the whole crowd. Everyone loved it. You absolutely smashed it.
Thank you.
Before you played it or after you played it, I can't remember. You did talk about the topic of the song. Would you feel comfortable or talking about
Yeah,
that?
absolutely. So linking with the Shania situation, actually, on that stage, I was playing with a beautiful friend and mentor of mine. I'd known him since I was 14 or 15 years old, and his name was Glen Hannah, and Glen had been, as I said, a wonderful friend and mentor from a very young age for me, but also had recently become a member of my band at that point in time. So he was playing with me at the Shania gig. We played a whole bunch of shows on tour for my last album, which is Collide. And Glen had been somebody in my life that had just sort of been around for all of the most important, most exciting, momentous sort of musical occasions, playing with a band for the first time. That was an experience I had with Glen, and playing for big crowds for the first time. And he just kind of was there for all of the great moments. But as well as that, he was a friend and a family friend of ours. And so in what I wrote the song about was that Glen lost his battle with depression last year, and it was, obviously an incredible shock and incredibly heartbreaking for so many people. He was just the most bright, kind, humble, incredibly off the charts talented man. And so many of us, I think it just goes to show that the struggles that people have are so often so far beneath the surface that you just can't even begin to scratch away the paint and see what's underneath. And so it kind of it sent shockwaves through the Australian music industry, and I felt like I could trust Colin Hay with this idea that I'd been wanting to write this song called First Class Man about Glen, because I was actually talking to my dad at one point after Glen's passing, and was just we were just feeling so at a loss as to what to say. My dad sort of said, it's really just that we've just lost a first class man. And as soon as he said it, I just thought that really is what he was. He was that sort of a guy. And so I thought Colin would be a great person to write the song with. And I think, he was so so open to talking about it and writing it into a song. And I think, you know, what was so confusing about it was that I felt confusion and wanting to understand what had happened, but I also felt like, how did I have a right to feel this way when I wasn't even the closest person to Glen? There were so many people who were closer, which is actually a lyric that's in the song, is, you know, there were those who were closer, you know, his family and closer friends, and we were really had a business relationship, but it's just those unanswered questions that go through your head when somebody takes their own life like that. So it was a very heartbreaking and sort of shocking time. But I think writing the song, you know, I just wanted to write it for everyone, for Glen and for everybody who misses him, basically.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, you do have that, like, not you know, not through taking their own life, but like I lost a friend who was, you know, someone I grew up with, and, you know, hadn't super seen recently, and you kind of like, it really threw me for a loop. And, you know, I'm seeing posts from family and, you know, girlfriend and all that sort of stuff, and I'm, you know, I'm kind of, you know, upset about it, but I'm going like, be up, like, how can you, like, yeah, you have that thing where you're like, I'm not, you know, I'm almost like putting myself down, being like, I'm second string to this guy, like, you know, how about the first string, you know? So I do get that, but
I absolutely understand. It's a form of guilt where you feel like you don't have a right to feel that way when so many other people are hurting worse than you. And I think what I always try and remember is that everybody is entitled to those feelings, and if you connected with somebody, you know, you have a right to mourn their passing just as much as anybody else, even if you weren't as close with them as other people were. It still affects your life, and you can still miss somebody and grieve their passing in a respectful way. You know, I'm always just so worried about it, because I'd never want it to seem like I never want it to be making it about me. It's not about me in any way. It's about Glen and everybody who misses Glen. And so I think that's the kicker of the whole thing, was just trying to write the song in that way, where it's about the lack of closure that everybody feels, that I'm imagining everyone feels, you know?
Yeah. Well, if it's any consolation, like if it makes you feel any better, it does not come across in any way in the song that you are saying like, woe is me, you know,
Good.
woe is me, you know, Glen was my friend, you know, I'm going to sing about Glen. Like, it's more just trying to tell,
Good.
you know, not to call back, but you're trying to tell like Glen's, you're trying to tell the Glen Hannah story, if you will. Like, you know, you're doing
absolutely.
that. And like, you know, it's a bit sort of, I guess, naive or ignorant of me, as I hadn't heard of Glen. And when you sent the stuff through to me, I Googled him, and I researched him, and, you know, checked out all the stuff, and everything was glowing. Like, there was no negativity. And a lot of the stuff, you know, even like you said, seemed to be, it was a shock, because it didn't seem to be that obvious sort of thing, you know, that we can't take people at face value, that there's, you know, these demons inside, darker stuff inside. And I think, you know, it's the song, it's a really beautiful tribute to him. So you should definitely be very proud.
Thank you, Mitch. Thank you. I appreciate it. And I think it's good to talk about this stuff, because as you're saying, there's so many things under the surface. Humans are incredibly complicated creatures, and there's a lot that people don't feel comfortable talking about, or that they don't know who they can talk to, or that it just feels like such a big problem that they're snowed under and they can't find even a crack to get out, you know. And I think that's the way that we hopefully beat that over time, is through just making these things as talk aboutable as possible. That is not a word. but you know
Love
what I
it.
mean.
Yeah, I mean, please. I'm the one earlier throwing around revered, and I didn't even know what it meant.
Look, at least
Um,
yours was a real word.
talk aboutable. That's talking? I love it.
That's
I love
literally
it.
what I said. I am the daughter of an English teacher. I should know better.
Please don't let him or her listen to this. They will be so upset, and I'm sure I'll get corrected on what revered means. But okay, so with yourself and Glenn, obviously music, huge part in your relationship, huge part in your life, huge part in his life. I find, for me, when I think about Dad, the number one thing that triggers me is music. So
Oh, wow.
I'm trying to navigate this, but okay, so I've told this story before on another podcast, but Coles, Coles Radio, like as
Yep.
in the radio station that plays in
Yep.
Coles. They
Yes.
they seem to play 10 songs across the day, and that's it. And then every now and then there's a guy being like, Coles Radio, blah, like check out the specials. One of the songs that seems to be in high rotation on the Coles Radio is the song that we played at my dad's funeral.
Oh.
So I've said this last time, I think on the last episode, but it's like, if I hear the start of, I think it's Jumping Jack Flash. If I hear the start of Jumping Jack Flash, then I know that in one or two songs is going to be the song I don't want to hear.
Oh, no,
so
I
it's
thought
like,
you were going to say that was the funeral song. And I was like, that's an interesting choice for a funeral song.
Yeah, look, we didn't want to have a downer day.
I just can't imagine a downer. Can't imagine people crying to Jumping Jack Flash.
But obviously the beat, the rhythm, you're still feeling it, but I'm just so sad.
I'm so sad. No, that's horrible. That musical trigger is really difficult. And so I'm imagining there have been moments where you've been crying your eyes out in Coles, which is never a good place where you want your life to be.
No, and it's if you're standing in the middle of a bakery section as an overweight man, it just looks like you can't make a decision or something.
You can't make a decision.
It's like, I don't know. Like, donuts are on sale, but custard tarts are delicious, and they just think I'm crying because of that. But I can't decide.
I just don't know which one I want.
Don't know, but they're both my favourite. But yeah, I've definitely had moments where it's been literally or like fully like, oh look, shit, like let's wrap this up. Oh God.
No.
And like the good thing is I've recently been given some AirPods, which because of the price of them, I am so over the top careful with them that they are in my pocket all the time. Like,
yes,
if I go to work, I go to a gig, like even the other night, like at Listen Up, I had them in my pocket. Anywhere I go, they're in my pocket. So it's like I've probably got this barrier now. I've got this shield
That's
from
a
Coles
very
Radio.
good idea. That's a very good idea. I feel like there are certain songs always that remind me of past friendships or past relationships that maybe haven't ended well. And then when that song comes on, and that is nowhere near the level of trauma that I feel would be, involved with listening to a song that was played at your dad's funeral. Like, I think that's far worse, and yet I still get emotional in that environment. So that's kind of crazy.
Oh yeah, I mean, breakups and breakdowns of friendships and business relationships, any of that sort of stuff. It sucks. Like Panic at the Disco? That first Panic at the Disco album. There's a song on that where if I listen to that, I'm back 17 years old, just got my P's, driving with my girlfriend.
Amazing.
Kind of not far away from breaking up, kind of thing. And I can listen to that Panic at the Disco, and I'm like immediately straight back there, driving.
Well,
in
a way, aren't we all 17 years old in our heart, driving around with our girlfriends on our P's, almost breaking up, listening to Panic at the Disco?
That's a new catchphrase. Aren't we all just? It's like 7 lines
It's a
long.
bumper sticker.
On the back, yeah, we're going to get it. We'll sell it. It'll just be popular with kids that have Pulsars and girls that have Suzuki Swifts. Across the back.
Absolutely. I'm excited to get one. It's a new merch possibility.
So good. I've been playing with the idea of like getting Dead Dad Society pins and giving them to people that are in the society, like the people that have come. But maybe it's a bumper sticker that says, "Aren't we all just 17 driving around listening to Panic at the Disco with our girlfriends?" I can't even remember what it was.
We're all, in a sense, we're all always almost breaking up most of the time. There's so much. In a sense, aren't we all sort of all of us doing this? Like there's like 4 different things that like contradict each other. You've really got to be like driving behind that person for a long time to read that bumper sticker.
Yeah, you're begging for a red light to catch that.
The text is far too small.
Yeah, what? It's like that's when you'd be happy to see like a love it or leave it sticker because you're like, oh, well, now I know how they feel.
Yeah, absolutely.
I can read
or
that.
Like,
that's
gone fishing. That's what happened to the simple ones.
Magic happens, or shit happens. You're like, oh, it's really simple. It's like that's across the entire back bumper, and the font is like a tiny little font.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you have any like you mentioned the relationships, like a song that reminds you of a relationship, or even is there any songs? Of course, probably First Class Man will probably do that down the track for Glen.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. I have a lot of, obviously my own songs are always kind of generally very autobiographical. So they're often based around things that have happened. And I tend to write about, both sides of the coin, things gone, not just love, but, things gone awry, things that, are really brilliant at the beginning, but then, the sort of the development of relationships, whether it be like partners or family or friendships or whatever it might be. Human connection, I guess, is probably what I put it down to. But I think, so a lot of my songs obviously remind me of the people I wrote them about. But then there's so many songs that are just, this person and I once played a gig and sung this song together and now it reminds me of them. Or like they introduced me to this artist and whenever that artist comes on shuffle, I have to skip it because it hurts thinking about it, Music is such a powerful trigger like that.
Yeah, it is. It's so immediate. Like it's very strange to have that, like even past relationships. You go to a concert with them, like you said, or you yourself playing music. You're just like, oh man, those songs are dead to me now. They're dead to me.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, that's kind of how it feels. And it's a shame. It's always such a shame. Sometimes that'll happen to me and I'll go, like there was somebody that I was sort of, so close with and then our friendship sort of just fell apart for reasons that were beyond my control. And then it felt like every time I listened to a certain artist, I was like, I think it's a beautiful, amazing artist, but I just can't. It just reminds me too much of this person. And I'm like, damn it, why'd you have to ruin such a great, why couldn't you have ruined like some terrible band that I was never going to listen to anyway?
That's it. Like, why couldn't you have like shown me Skrillex or something, or just something that's
why
like,
couldn't it?
Like, I'm happy to lose that.
Exactly. This is an acceptable loss.
That's it. I'm not putting Skrillex down. Please don't come for me, Skrillex people. But like the idea of, it's like, I love this artist. You even saying so yourself, you're like, they're beautiful, they're amazing, they're a great artist. And it's like, but no, they're dead to me. They don't exist.
Yes, they're tinged now. They're tinged with the sadness of friendships past.
That's it. That's all. I mean, at least that's good that you've got your own songs to connect to.
That's true.
To fall back on. That's it. I mean, and
that's
I
exactly
obviously.
Right.
I connect to your songs as well. Like I feel like I always have blues in my pocket as well.
Oh, thank you.
See what I did there?
Yes, well done.
I've been spinning that. I've been spinning Collide a fair bit, to be honest.
Oh, thank you. I'm so glad you like it. I'm very glad. That's yeah. Gosh, it feels like a million years ago. Once again, time not existing during
Yeah.
COVID, but it feels like a million years ago that album came out, and it was only 2 years ago, but it feels like it could have been 10.
Was that the album that got the nods for like golden guitar stuff?
Yes, it was. Yeah. So that was the one that Diesel produced.
Wow, that's really cool. So what was it? I'm trying to remember was it best newcomer, best album newcomer, something like that for golden guitar?
Yes. So it was best new artist, female artist of the year, and alternative country album of the year, which is super cool. And yeah, still something I'm very proud of.
That's so cool. That is that's like that's the Mecca sort of stuff for
Yeah,
obviously Australian country music. That's the things you hear about.
definitely.
That's really, really cool. So
Yeah.
who did you lose to for female artist of the year, and who do we need to fight? Like, what do we need to do?
Well, you know what? I lost to Becky Cole, and I think that's totally fair because Becky Cole
Yeah.
is a total legend, and
Yep.
her album was amazing. So you know what? 100% no hard feelings.
What's so strange about that is that I purposely did not look at anything to do with the results. I thought because okay, so here's where I'm going with that. First of all, I said you were a nominee. You're a nominee. Whereas if you had won, I feel like you would have been like, actually, I won.
Yeah.
So I read that. And then the second thing is that when you said female artist of the year, I went, Becky Cole. Like I said, in my head, I went, Becky Cole.
Really? Wow.
Yep.
That's
And
impressive.
thank you. That's about the extent of the knowledge, to be honest.
Well, you know what? It's all great because, I mean, the thing about the awards was that, it's such a the country music scene in Australia is such a small vibe. And so everyone I was nominated against were good friends of mine. So it could have gone to anyone and I would have been proud. It's kind of like one of those scenarios where I also always have felt a little bit on the outer of the country scene because, as you can probably hear in my music, there are elements of country, but it's certainly doesn't feel, especially my most recent EP, doesn't really feel hugely dyed-in-the-wool country. So I think there are parts of it that fit into other genres. So I was just grateful to get a look in, to be honest, because I never really knew where I belonged genre-wise and didn't think that it would necessarily be picked up by the country scene. So I was just grateful that it got a nod. I thought it was a really lovely, testament to the ability of the songs to sort of connect with a wide, diverse range of people.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, very very insular, that the community, I guess that's like every time I see when they announce the ARIA Awards and it's like best comedy album and it's like the 6 or 7 people nominated, it's like, oh, they're all best friends. Like,
yeah,
literally every single one of them,
exactly.
like, they'd all be looking at that going like, oh, so-and-so's nominated. That's sick. Oh, I'm nominated. Cool. Oh, so yeah, cool. It's like,
Yeah, it's a
you're
big
all at dinner.
party. That's right. They're all having fun, and we had such a fun night, and the fact that I didn't win any didn't dampen my night. Like, I had a great time anyway. We had a lot of cocktails. It was a good time.
That's it. Don't let me, like, that was a real dick move on my part to be like, who did you
Oh,
lose
don't be
to?
silly. No. I'm so not. I think that these questions and the weird sort of discomfort and awkwardness of things like that are definitely not worthwhile even sort of getting into. Like, it's silly. We don't need to feel like that, especially because I've always been a big believer that, like, music shouldn't be at its core, shouldn't be a competition. And I think obviously with awards like that, there's always going to be a winner, but I think there's always a lot of good stuff out there for everyone to experience. So I'm never worried about stuff. I think awards are amazing if you win them, a wonderful bonus, but never something that you sort of like base all of your dreams on,
Yeah. And it's like, it is nice. It is nice to be recognized or whatever, but not the end of the world. Not the end of the world.
Absolutely. Certainly didn't slow us down.
didn't cry about it. It's all good.
No,
But
it's fine. Didn't cry in Coles about it. It's fine.
Oh, that hurts. No, it's fine. That's right. You just got me back. You just got me back for saying who did you lose to? What's I better let you go. I better let you go soon. It is getting pretty late. But one thing I like to do, but then a new thing that I like to do on the podcast is, so if you were, so it's a little bit of a game. If you were to, knowing me, as well as you do, what famous TV dad would you think would be a good TV dad to come in for me and replace my dad?
Oh, that is the coolest question. Oh my God. Okay. I'm going to say, I reckon, did you ever watch The OC?
Thank you very much. That is the greatest compliment that anyone has ever given me. Yes, the OC
Sandy
is phenomenal. Sandy Cohen is the dad of all dads.
He's such a dad. He's such a legend. And like the way he takes in old mate, brooding guy that punches everyone all the time, Ryan Atwood. And then he's such a good dad to him. But then he's I think maybe I relate to him because I'm part Jewish and he's such a Jewish dad and he's hilarious and he's got the amazing big eyebrows and he's just such a legend and he's funny and he's got a dry sense of humor and he's caring. You know what? He's the dad for you. He's the dad to replace your dad.
Yes, thank you. That's amazing. That is so good. I will say this, where are we talking? About halfway through season 2, when he starts to have, his eyes start to wander towards his old ex-girlfriend. Not happy there, Sandy. Not happy with that.
No, not happy with it, Sandy. We need to, I mean spoilers, 20-year-old spoilers for anyone that hasn't seen it. But I've been just very much enjoying all of the really low rider jeans that everyone wears throughout the whole series. It's like there was a time when we thought that jeans should almost not be on your body.
Yeah, and even then there was a bit of a fad, Misha Barton, however you say it, loved the jeans, but was also all about a dress over the top, which seemed to be a massive 2000 thing of dress over the top of jeans. It's like, what are we doing?
You know what? I did it as a kid and I was probably copying her. So you know what? Whatever. It's very 90s. It's very 2000s. It's all happening. It's all happening. But that's the dad for you.
Thank you. I think you doing it was more of a family suggestion, being like, if Imogen pisses her pants again, at least people won't know.
Okay, you got me good. I walked right into that one.
Yeah.
It's the doubling up of the layers is important in my life, apparently.
Yeah. Well, that's the first time I've asked the TV dad question. So that's 1 mark for Sandy Cohen.
Yes.
I'm gonna keep a bit of a tally, I reckon, because I feel like, and if people that come on have listened to other episodes, then maybe they'll stay away from Sandy Cohen. But if they haven't, I feel like Sandy Cohen's going to rank high. I feel like he's going to rank.
He's
really
such
high.
a great dad, and also, my first initial thought was actually going to be Jack Geller from Friends. Ross and Monica's father.
Love that.
But I did feel like we just get to know Sandy Cohen a little better, and I feel like I can just see him with his sense of humour aligning with yours. It would make sense.
That's beautiful. Yeah, Jack would be good. Jack was all about a sly comment or a snarky comment.
He was also all about jean shorts from memory, like a lot of cargo shorts and things.
I think he was. Yeah. I think he was. Sandy Cohen. Sandy Cohen's in. That's great. I love it.
Yeah, that's my number 1.
Amazing. It's weird you didn't pick Ross. He has, what does he have? 3, there's 3 different children to 3 different women or something, or however many it is.
That would have been great. He would have been in Friends, he's your age. So I figured, no way he could be your dad.
That's true, actually. Maybe I'm just a grown-up version of Ben, the kid that we didn't see for
Yeah,
half the show, even though it was his
yeah,
child.
he just disappeared. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. That's
kind of
actually that's such a good plot point.
kind of strange, but
Kind of weird.
we can't keep going on TV dads all night. We can't. My final thing I want to ask you is,
Yes.
if you yourself, Imogen Clark, if you were to be my replacement dad, if you were to be, what would be the type of advice you're giving me, or what would be the biggest thing of advice that you could offer me?
Oh, that's a really good question. I would probably give the advice of the same advice that we get from Barney Stinson in How I Met Your Mother, which is that nothing good happens after 2 a.m. Is that him, or is that another character? I
That
agree
is
with
him.
that.
That is him.
I've actually come to realise, even though I'm 25 years old and should be having a lot of good times after 2 a.m., it generally rings quite true for me. And I think
It really
that
does.
probably it's something that everybody needs to be taking on board. Although, now that I say that, you with a very young child, I doubt you're seeing the other side of 2 a.m. much.
No, I'm more of a seeing the sun come up at 5:30 a.m. kind of guy, because
Yeah, well,
someone's yelling
maybe.
at me, not because I'm at a club.
Yes. Someone's yelling over your bed. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, good morning, and I'm like literally the last few mornings have just been like, hi, and you're like, hi, what time is it? It's 5:15. You're up. Good.
You're awake. That's amazing.
That's
Well, then
awesome.
maybe if I were to tailor my advice more to a father, even though I have no parenting advice whatsoever, maybe I would say, I've heard from a lot of parents that the best thing to do is to make sure that you are not just constantly eating what you're feeding your child. I've had a lot of people that are parents
Yes.
say to me, I'm just eating nuggets in the shape of dinosaurs. That's all I'm
Yeah.
eating all the time, and I'm just feeling like a piece of shit. And
Yeah.
I think that's, you know what, if I were to be your dad, if I were your replacement dad, that's exactly what I would say.
I love it. Because I heard
No dinosaur nuggets.
no dinosaur nugget. Well, that's it. That's another bumper sticker that will get made as well. No dinosaur nugget. But I heard I think it was Jon Favreau, like the director Jon Favreau was like, they were like, how did you lose weight? And he was like, the number one thing I did is stop finishing my kids' meals.
Such good advice. Such
Fantastic.
good advice.
How good's
Yeah.
that? So look,
Absolutely.
we'll weigh up.
But you know what? It doesn't stop either, because if you get in that habit, you're going to do it forever. I'm 25. I still live at home because COVID and unemployment. Yay. And my dad still finishes my meal. When I don't finish my meal, my dad finishes it. And that is just the surefire way to obesity.
Well, my wife is one of 5 kids. And when I came into the family, that's when, there's a bit of a power struggle between me and my father-in-law as to for who gets to finish the meals.
Oh no!
But no, he gets them because he's stronger than me. And it's his house.
Good points. All very fair calls.
All beautiful points. Hey, look, thank you. Thanks so much for coming on and having a chat with me. It's been really, really fun. I feel like
it's a pleasure.
It's gotten weird. It got weird. There was
a lot of
toilet talk.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't say a word about. Did I say poop? No, I think I don't even remember.
I definitely said poo more than once. I've said it about 4 times now.
That's so good.
Look, hey, it's brilliant for me because I feel like a lot of the chats I have are solely centered around just my music, which of course is wonderful to talk about, but it is really fun sometimes to just talk a bit of trash, have a bit of a silly time, talk about some things that you're sad about, some things that you laugh about, some things that have traumatized you from your childhood, urine-based accidents. It's all a good time, it's
That's
wonderful.
it. And look, I'm not sure that you would have been able to get the closure you needed on the urine-based accident through song. So I'm glad.
No, I'm yet to, yeah, I feel very much like I've worked through some things with you, my therapist,
Hey.
Mitch. So thank you for having me on the show. I actually forgot at one point there that we were recording. It just felt like we were having a good old FaceTime.
Just talking. I guess that's what 2020 has become. It's just like you FaceTime literally everyone. You're like, I haven't seen you forever. Like, let's FaceTime.
I know. Yeah, exactly.
But it's been great. Where can people find you on the socials and everything?
Well, yeah, you can find me pretty much at any of the social places at on Instagram, Imogen__ Clark, and Clark has no E on the end. You can also just search me on Facebook and all those things, Twitter, you know, all your places where you get your music. Just type my name in and I'll come up.
Amazing. And the making of me, that's the latest
Yes.
EP from earlier the year. That's the Rolling Stone 4.5 stars out of 5. People need to go and check that out on all the streaming services.
Thanks, Mitch. I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
No worries. I appreciate you, and go and you do you. I don't even know how to finish these ever. You do you. Get out of here.
Hooray!